Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Shenandoah Valley. My name is Rochelle Broom, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees. We are a welcoming congregation, united on the side of love and justice. We like to say, we don't have to think alike to love alike. We strive to walk through this life with open hearts, open minds, and hope that all who walk this earth with us will find the strength to walk it with best intent as often as possible. May the time we spend together today in this place make us braver, more compassionate, and wiser than when we woke up this morning. Amen. If you are new to Unitarian Universalism, I encourage you to take note of our mission statement, which is printed on the front of your order of service. We also work to promote and practice the 8 principles, which are printed on the inside of your order of service. It's our tradition to welcome first and second time visitors and those who haven't been with us for a while to stand if you're comfortable doing so and introduce yourself and tell us where you're from. So how about on this side? Any newbies, please stand.
I'm Linda O'Sullivan.
And I'm Michael O'Sullivan, and we live in Asheville and are currently members of UU of Asheville. Great. Welcome.
Welcome. Anyone else on this side? How about on this side? All right, it's the home team on the right side. Wonderful. Well, welcome to you all. We're exceedingly glad that you're here with us. If you're interested in learning more about us, or you'd like to receive our newsletter, or find out how you can be more involved in this UU community, there's a white card in the back of the pews, and it can also be found on the table. The one's being held up back here. They can be found on the table in the foyer as well. If you fill out a card and place it in the collection plate or leave it on the table in the foyer, we can get in touch with you and share some more information about us. We also...
Emery.
I think I have a little comment I'd like to make.
If you could please hold that, Emery. If you could please hold that, because we're going to have a time for you to do that. We also like to have our Native peoples acknowledgement. It's our practice to acknowledge that the land where we are now gathered has not always been ours to call home. UUCSB acknowledges with respect that the land we are on today is the ancestral home of the Cherokee and of other indigenous people. The Cherokee, through stewardship, understanding, and conservation, survived and thrived in this land. We acknowledge their enduring connection to their homeland. And before we go ahead and commence our service today, we have one brief announcement on behalf of the Stewardship Committee. I think Andy's out here somewhere. There we go.
Good morning, I'm Andy Reed, as many of you know, and I just want, on behalf of the Stewardship Committee, to remind everybody that money really is the lifeblood of a congregation and of a community. It allows for us to serve in different ways because there is something to serve for that can help us grow and accomplish the things we want to. I serve on several committees, Sunday Service Committee, Membership, the Auction Committee, and the Communications Committee. But for me, the fact that we have such a wonderful music program is a huge part of being part of this church and part of the community. The benefit for me through your gifts and giving is that I get to sing in the choir. And every once in a while to preach to the choir. I'm going to leave this thought with you that came to me from my former minister at the Asheville Church many, many years ago. We want you to give, not until it hurts. We want you to give until it feels good. Thank you.
And now, if you would silence your cell phones, or put them on vibrate, we'll let our service begin.
May our time together renew our hope. May the stories we share refresh our courage. May the songs we sing lift our spirits. May the words we speak invigorate us. May the touch of hands, the sound of laughter, the sight of faces new and familiar restore us in faith. Oh, by the way, I'm Diane Graham, and I'm glad that Lee volunteered to be the church arsonist so I could take a break. Our opening hymn is a familiar one to all of us. I went through the entire hymn book looking for songs that had something to do with dreams, and there aren't very many. So we sing this one a lot, but it still fits. So if you feel comfortable standing, please do so. Hymn number 346. Couldn't be here today, and she's very sorry she couldn't, but she's the one who recommended our speaker. She recommends many speakers, and we're very happy that she does so.
I was smelling smoke.
I don't, we're good.
Nope.
We're good.
Cigarette smoke?
We're good. We're
It's
good.
the candles.
I think
Oh, maybe candle.
Anyway, introducing the speaker, Tayria has a Ph.D. in depth psychology from Pacifica Graduate Institute in Carpinteria, California. After 30 years of living in the LA area, where she raised her family, she worked for 20 years as a minister and later as a professor at the undergraduate and graduate levels. She now lives in Asheville, where she has a private practice offering dream analysis, psychological and spiritual guidance to clients from all parts of the world. She has worked intensively with her own and other people's dreams for more than 45 years, and for nearly 30 years has been an avid student of the indigenous ways of knowing and being, which is why she liked what we said about the land usage this morning so much. She has conducted a monthly Global Community Dream Symposium since early 2017, wherein persons from all over the world come to share their dreams and listen to the collective dreaming mind. She conducts retreats and vision quests, teaches online courses, and teaches to a wide audience in regular interviews and lectures. She also offers private readings upon request. She founded the Bridging Worlds Mountain Center in Hot Springs. Yay, Susan. And that was in 2004. I don't know how you did all this, it's amazing. Working with her, this is a tribute, because you can look her up and you find lots of tributes to her from various people who have worked with her, and here's a short one. Working with her has been one of my most fulfilling exercises in self-awareness. Sometimes things come in a flash, sometimes insight arrives subtly and quietly. I have learned to notice this and more as a result of my dream analysis with her, sharing the events of daily life and acknowledging the presence and divine genius within. Her deep compassion for helping others along the way is matched only by her extensive knowledge and experience as a soul doctor. It is a joy and a privilege to work with her.
I have a reading. This is a poem by great Irish poet David White. It's called What to Remember When Waking. In that first, hardly noticed moment in which you wake, coming back to this life from the other more secret, movable, and frighteningly honest world where everything began, there is a small opening into the new day, which closes the moment that you begin your plans. What you can plan is too small for you to live. What you can live wholeheartedly will make plans enough for the vitality hidden in your sleep. To be human is to become visible while carrying what is hidden as a gift to others. To remember the other world in this world is to live your true inheritance. You are not a troubled guest on this earth. You are not an accident amidst other accidents. You were invited from another and greater night than the one from which you have just emerged. Now, looking through the slanting light of the morning window toward the mountain presence of everything that can be, what urgency calls you to your one love? What shape waits in the seed of you to grow and spread its branches against a future sky? Is it waiting in the fertile sea, in the trees beyond the house, in the life you can imagine for yourself, in the open and lovely white page on the writing desk?
Our joys and sorrows are often deeply felt, but sometimes unspoken. It is time to share some that you'd like for others to know about. Please be brief when doing so and tell us your name.
Good morning. I'm Mary Soyanova, and I have a joy. You folks have been so wonderful saving your egg cartons for Bounty and Soul. It's just been wonderful, but now I'm asking you to stop for a while. We are awash in egg cartons. So thank you all so much for that.
I'm Emery Underwood, and this is an anniversary of the walk on the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Alabama. And I thought I'd say I was one of the ones that walked across the Edmund Pettus Bridge.
Hi, I'm Jackie Franklin, and I just want to light a candle of concern for our dear friend Elizabeth Wallace. She is still home recovering from COVID, which she's doing much better, but she's having that long extended period of fatigue. So keep her in your thoughts.
Good morning, I'm Deb Vengel, and I've needed to do this for a while, and not been able to say I have a concern is an understatement. I have my youngest step-grandson is not yet 2, and from the time he was birthed, he's had nothing but challenge. And, you know, I haven't come up here partly because just telling the story is, I don't know how to do that. And he couldn't sleep, he couldn't eat. He's just had one thing after another. He has what looks like petit mal seizures. They've just put in a feeding tube. And he's a beautiful little boy, and he shoots basketball, perfect shots. It's just hard to tell. Please hold him in your thoughts. His name is Shy, and my apologies to Rochelle when I say this. Western medicine is an incredible thing, except when everybody has to work in a systemic way. There's all these specialists and they don't talk to each other. Anyway, I don't know what's gonna happen, but please give him your thoughts and prayers.
If you would please light a candle for all of those unspoken joys and concerns. Be ours a religion which, like sunshine, goes everywhere. Its temple all space, its shrine a good heart, its creed all truth, its rituals works of love, its profession of faith, divine living, and joyful giving, and that's your clue. nerves, I'll let it close. She chose all the music for today. And I could not have done it. And she just came through and she said, bingo, I've got it all. Thank you, Sue, very much. Now for what you came for, our guest speaker, whom we are very happy to have with us today.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. I'm gonna put a little clock here so I don't go way into the dream time and you have to come find me. Thank you for your warm welcome and the invitation to be here. I'm just so happy to be with all of you. So, I'm going to be speaking on one of my most favorite subjects in the world. And the title is Waking Up to Your Dreams. Carl Jung said, dreams are the guiding words of the soul. And so I'm just going to tell you a little history of mine working with dreams. When I was 24, which is almost 50 years now, not quite, but almost 50 years ago, I met a woman who became my spiritual teacher, and she had all of us write down our dreams and really impressed upon us the importance of working with our dreams. And when we were fortunate, we could sit down with her privately, and she could give us the depth and the value and the stories out of the dream. She was quite a gifted dream interpreter. So we came to know very soon what was in the dream that was the guiding words for the soul. And so I worked in that organization and was a minister, became a minister in that organization for 20 years. And everyone that I knew, all my friends and my husband at the time, we talked about our dreams all the time. It was a very much part of the way that we understood the world, the way we talked about the world, the way we thought about the world, what was coming in our dreams. So I'm very fortunate to have had that. And then I resigned from the ministry after those years and went on to get my doctorate in depth psychology. And the reason I went for depth psychology was because of Freud and Jung's interest in dreams. So when I finished that, my Ph.D., I ended up moving to the mountains here in North Carolina, where I started a retreat center. And there, I had retreats on a regular basis, and we worked with our dreams. And now I work as a private dream analyst. So the dreams have been the through line of my life since, for all these many decades. So, and I've just come to understand, and probably all of you have an awareness that dreams are really the universal language. Everyone dreams, and babies dream, and dogs and cats dream, and those who know the language of the plants, the plants are always dreaming. And Thomas Berry wrote a book called The Dream of the Earth, and that explains how the earth herself is dreaming. And many will say that God is our collective dream, and that we are his dream. So the dream is what permeates all of us at all times. And then, at some point, along came the Age of Reason, which has had many benefits. But prior to the Age of Reason, in about the 16th century, 17th century, prior to that, as Nietzsche says, I love this quote of his, as a man now reasons in dreams, so humanity also reasoned for many thousands of years while awake. And so prior to the time when we developed the ways of thinking, the style of thinking that occurred during the Age of Reason, and we sort of narrowed the scope, because the indigenous people, and this is what I love studying with the indigenous people, they had a 360-degree awareness. They knew what was happening behind them, what the little animal was doing, burrowing over there, and what the signals about that were for when the winter was going to come, and what was in the smell of the wind, and all of that sort of 360-degree awareness got narrowed down to what Jung called directed thinking. And that has produced the advances in science and so forth. But he says, as Jung says, this style of thinking that now is our regular, what we're trained in school from an early age to think in these linear ways and to succeed because we know how to think in these linear ways and to block out all these other ways of thinking, that this is only a recent adaptation of the human mind, and because of it, we have lost the dreaming, basically, and we have lost the sense of the importance of our dreams and the purpose of our dreams. Heidegger called it technological thinking, and that this style of thinking was never meant to be the dominant style of thinking, but it has become so. And so it is my understanding and belief in working with dreams for these many years that there are ways which I call dream thinking. I do a lot of teaching about dream thinking, which is how the indigenous people think. It's mythological thinking. It's seeing through the other dimensions of how to be and conceive of the world. They say we have 300 and some senses, but we only talk about 5 of them. But there are so many other senses that we have that these will wake up in the dream if we start paying attention to the style of thinking that comes to us through our dreams. It's like we fell asleep to the dreaming, and now in our waking world we're asleep to what the dreams have for us. And as Michel de Montaigne, I like this little quote of his, he says, "We sleeping wake, and waking sleep." When Carl Jung went to Africa, he was very interested in learning when he met the medicine people there, what their work with the dreams was. And I saw this on one of the videos of Jung in Africa, and it made me cry, literally. He said the Laban, which is the medicine man, he answered with tears in his eyes, "In the old days, the Labans had dreams and knew whether there was war or sickness, and whether rains come, and when the herds should be driven. But since the whites were in Africa, no one dreams anymore. The divine voice which counseled the tribe was no longer needed because the English knew better." That makes me cry still. I almost can't read it without crying. It's just like, and partly because this is what happened to the people who used to live by the dreaming and knew what to do. Every day they talk about their dreams, and many indigenous people in the world today still get up. There's a tribe in Peru that get up at 4 in the morning and discuss the dreams of everyone in the village. Then they go back to sleep for a little while. They drink guayusa tea, which wakens the dreaming. So they get up at 4 in the morning and drink their guayusa tea and discuss the dreaming. Then they go back to sleep and later begin the day. But because of the dreaming, they know what's going on, really, and how to live, and how the relationships in the village are being, what to do, and when to plant, and all of this. But the idea, that I think makes me sort of weep about what this Laban said to Jung is the fact that the English knew better. It stopped the dreaming, and this has kind of happened to all of us. But this dreaming language can be revived, and it can be awakened, and it's just a matter of intending to do so. I have many, many, many people that I work with that say, "I just don't remember my dreams." I just listened to a beautiful talk by Puma Freddy. I can't even remember his whole name. He's a beautiful indigenous man. And he said, because we do not intentionally enter the dream time, this is why we cannot often remember our dreams. So it's a matter of intention to remember the dreams, and really having just even the vaguest curiosity and concept of why to remember our dreams. And so I always tell someone, put a little pad and paper next to your bed at night, and with a pen. And if you wake up in the night for any reason, I have even trained myself to do this. I can reach over and scrawl a few words that will help me pull that dream back in the morning, and it usually works, even if without waking up too much or even opening an eye. I can do this. But if you get up and can just write down a few phrases, then in the morning when you get up, write down that dream and reflect on that dream, And understand that the dream is a symbolic language. So it may seem like a really silly or weird or pedestrian kind of message that the dream might be talking about. But if we begin to understand that it comes for a reason, and Robert Johnson, a great Jungian writer, says, God would never bother you with irrelevant information. So this is the voice of God in your dream at night, and it's not irrelevant. That's not what you're being bothered in your dream about. So to understand that if we think about the symbolism of the dream, sometimes somebody will dream about, I don't know, an old high school friend. So you start to think, what was that person a symbol of me for? Or when I knew that person, what was I developing in terms of my own thinking or my own self-identity? Or did that person represent to me a certain style of being? Maybe that person was really funny and so it taught you to just have a great sense of humor about things, or maybe it was a first love, and so it's going back to your own sort of developing ideas about what love is and what love isn't that need review now, because it's coming to you now for a reason. And that's what Robert Johnson always impressed upon his students and clients, was that the dream is for now. It comes right now because it has something important for you. And if we just kind of receive that, and we don't have to understand it in a linear way of thinking, but if we kind of take it through our day, often we'll find, oh, I get what, that might be about, or what it refers to. And even if you don't ever get it, you're entering the dreaming, and the dreaming can start to then dream you, and you'll start to understand why this way of knowing is still so active and alive in us. And dreams are always, as they say, in service to awakening what many call the authentic self. The real self, that's the self that sometimes is hidden, as David White was saying, the hidden parts of ourself that behind the sort of personality that we develop, the enculturation, the ideas of what our family wants us to be, what our peers want us to be, what our children want us to be, what the people in the world need for us to be and reflect to them. There's a part that's hidden in us that many call the authentic self. And so the dreams are always trying to wake that part up so that it doesn't go unnoticed and unknown. And E.E. Cummings has this quote that I use a lot. I love it. To be nobody but yourself in a world that is trying to make you into everybody else is the hardest battle, and you can never stop fighting. And that's what the dreams are in service to, helping us to be nobody but yourself. And every sort of waking view we have of ourselves is a very limited, it's like that directed thinking. This is the view that I think of as Tayria Ward, but there is so much more to be known, and the dreams are always trying to revive that for me so that I understand. And then, as Jung was famous for understanding the collective consciousness, the fact that there's a collective dreaming mind, that there's a collective, a way that we all sort of breathe the collective mind. And that I sort of connect with what the Aboriginal people call the Dreamtime. And this is in the Aboriginal world, they think that the white people have gone insane because we only dream at night. They can dream all day long. They can step in and out of the dreaming all day long and understand what's going on in the dreaming as well as the waking world, and then they know how to navigate and hold that together. As I started reading about that in my doctoral work, I got so excited because I just thought, this is what really is happening. The dreaming is a dimension of our own consciousness and psyche that we've been taught to ignore. And I kind of thought back to when I'm in grade school, when I was looking out the window and my mind was off into what the squirrel was doing on that tree or whatever was happening out there. I was gone, and then my teacher would call me back into the room. I mean, good for her, that's what I was there for. And what I needed to do was pay attention to what was going on in the bulletin or on the chalkboard. But I was always having to be called back. And I think that is the kind of thinking and dreaming that got eventually trained out of us, because it wasn't serving the way that things are set up in the world. So it's to kind of get what would have happened if we developed that more, that way of thinking and knowing. And that dreams are an actual landscape of the soul. We walk around in this landscape at all times, and if we just turn our attention to it just a little, we start to realize that we're in this other, the other dimensions of life are also available and being spoken about, and we're being spoken about them too in our dreams. So that's what the dreaming and the dream time is. And some will say that dreams are like portals into other dimensions, so that we're understanding the various dimensions, that we're multi-dimensional beings, and this one dimension, this sort of 3D world that we live in, is just one dimension of how we are and who we are and what's actually going on, and that the dreams will be portals into that. This Freddie Space in Gona, this is the one I listened to yesterday. I loved when he said this: when we enter into the dream time, it is the only time we are connected with the most powerful spirit forces. So in my work as a dream analyst, I listen to people's dreams all the time. And it's very interesting. I have dream clients that are local, but also many from all over the world that have discovered me through the various things that I do on lectures on Zoom and so forth. And I find often that there's a dream theme that's happening with somebody in Asheville and somebody in Finland and somebody in South Africa, and it's all coming up at the same time. And so I became like quite intrigued, like what am I, one person, supposed to do with this, all this information, that this dreaming theme is happening all around the world right now, and people are reporting it to me. Should I write about this, or do I have to get permission from all these dreamers, or what am I supposed to do? So my colleague and a good friend, her name's Jocelyn Starfeather, she and I started what we call the Dream Symposium. And so every month, you're welcome to join us every month on Zoom on a Friday. We have a dream symposium where people from all over the world come and talk about their dreams, and we hear the themes of the dreams. And so this is what we decided to do with that question. I may write about it more at some point, but the Dream Symposium has been really, really beautiful and powerful. I'm just going to give you a little example of a dream that I had recently that has been so wonderful, just because always hearing a dream is good. So in this dream, this was just a couple weeks ago, I think, we're all in this community of people doing something that seems intentional. And there's this gentleman who is going down this rocky slope. It's like they're in the forest, there's a rocky slope in front of us, and he goes down the slope, and it's very uneven. And he's just like really upset about this. He's afraid to fall. He doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know quite how to do this. And he's just grumpy, and goes down. Finally gets to the bottom, and he's all upset. Then it's like, the dream changes, and he's at the top of the hill, and he goes down, like thinking of this as a really fun challenge, you know, so he's just excited. And the challenge is just a joy to him. And so he goes down the hill, same steps, same guy, same situation, but he goes down the hill excited and enthused about what he's doing. He gets to the bottom, it's, yeah, I made it. And so this is my dream, and I realize in the dream, oh, it's a choice. We can decide whether to be grumpy about all the challenges in our life or these particular challenges that we're facing, or we can decide to be excited and consider it an adventure. You know, the fear is always there, or the difficulty is always there, but our attitude is what creates how we live in the world. And so I went through the next day thinking, okay, I'm just going to decide all of these things that are troubling me are just fun challenges. It didn't work. So I realized, oh, okay, this is just an idea. But then I started seeing how quantum physicists are talking about this. It's how our attitudes that create the whole world. How it doesn't change the world, it changes how we are in the challenges of the world. And I saw an ancient scripture, something in the Upanishads that said the same thing. So here's my dream sort of waking me up to this reality. And it's like, okay, I'm gonna work with this. So we're right at the end here. I could talk about this for days. But I'm gonna leave you with this thought, and this is a quote of Carl Jung's. Go to bed. Think on your problem. See what you dream. Perhaps the great man, the 2-million-year-old man will speak. Only in a cul-de-sac do you hear his voice. So listen to what your 2-million-year-old inner soul has to say to you about your problem in the night.
Thank you, that was very inspiring, and I think all of us will look at our dreams differently now. Please join me in singing our last hymn, number 331. Stand if you are able. Life is the greatest gift. If you wish to be our speaker, she'll be waiting for you in the back. These closing words make me very nostalgic because they were said every Sunday in the Charlotte UU Church by our now deceased minister emeritus, Dr. Sidney Freeman. May the truth that sets us free, the hope that never dies, and the love that casts out fear lead us forward together until the dawn breaks and the shadows flee away. Happy dreams to all of you, and thank you for coming.